Guys, welcome back to the show. I just wanted to kind of do a little update. Bobby, one of our community members, requested an update, market update. He specifically mentioned he wants to know what the status of BTC or the what the market may do as a projection in the next 3 to 6 months. So I just wanted to kind of show you what I see right now on the charts and explain exactly what's going on, right? So I'm just going to jump straight into this. I'm not going to make this too long. I just want to drop it there and that's it. Right. I want you to go back to the previous history of the chart so you can probably see the pointers, right? So if you look carefully, what you will notice is we've had, I'm just going to do pen tool. Give me a second. Let me get a brush. So if you just look at this, right, we did this pattern. We had this M pattern. So if you just look at this, just understand where I'm coming from. So we had this M pattern, right, form here, and once we broke below this particular zone here, we actually started to crash down. So that was our bear market scenario, if that makes any sense, right? That's all that was. That was just our bear market. Now the bear market's over. We have started to enter the bull market once we entered this particular zone here. Sorry, give me a second, let me quickly get that brush again. So once we entered this particular zone here, that's when we know that our bear market was over, right? So we entered the bull market territory. Now, the reason I showed you this M pattern from the top, right, where 2021, where we can see the double top, this is an M pattern, an inverse W, whatever you want to call it. Obviously, once that broke below the midpoint, right, the center point, which is down here, this particular area here, once we broke that, then we became bearish. And then we came here. So we came down here right now and we started to create a lovely little pattern here. So you can see, so we came here and we started creating this inverse W. I know that looks funny, but that's what it is. We created this inverse head and shoulders, which is very bullish, by the way. So we created this and now we've come to a situation where we're actually coming down a little bit. Personally, I wouldn't worry too much even if it did come down, solely because if you look carefully, as long as we can stay above this particular area, which is around 25,200, then we should start being bullish. Also, I would be just a little bit more cautious on a higher time frame. So if I did look at the monthly, I would go more towards the 24,000. And I'll explain that to you by showing you the monthly, what I mean by that. So on the monthly, what you see is you're going to see slightly different thing. So this would be more like 23,400. So on the monthly higher time frame, I would love to stay above this. So if we are bouncing, right, and what I'm saying is if we now start to bounce around this area here, if we start bouncing, it's absolutely fine. This doesn't mean anything. This doesn't mean we are going bearish, the market's going to crash. The only time we need to start worrying is if we start trending down this way, then we got to worry. Okay. So I hope this kind of makes sense, right? So if we start trending down in that particular direction, go below this 23,400, then we have to worry on a higher time frame. But on a short time frame, on a weekly, what I'm seeing is everything being bullish. When I go to the weekly, what I see is this is definitely bullish. There's nothing bearish about this. We do still have the this particular zone here, for us to perfectly bounce the 25,000. We can bounce on that and move up, but that's not the most important thing. What's more significant is this particular area where I've put this green arrow. This line, this white line, this box was drawn about 1.5 years, almost 2 years ago. We drew this, right? Now we drew this back in 2021, and what we talked about was during the time when we started dumping, we said, look, if we drop, and you can see around this area here, if we drop below this 29,000 whatever level, then we're going to be bearish. But when we do come back up again, right? So when we start moving back up again, we will be facing resistance around those zones. And that's exactly what's happened. So we have currently started to face a little bit of resistance, right? Yes, we may have gone up to 31K and everyone thought, yes, we're going to start shooting for the moon. No, it doesn't work like that. There's a pattern. There's a clear pattern you must follow. And this is what I'm seeing. So for me, we are still in a bull trend. I don't see anything that tells me otherwise. For example, I know some people might turn around and say, well, hold on, what about this area here where you've got this particular trend line here? You can see the gap from the bottoms that we've got. So I'm taking this point here and I'm taking this point here. We've got 2 points. if I do anything, for example, if I do anything slightly different, like if I calculate these points here, then the line is a lot more wider. This is one of the reasons why I'm not doing this, because it just makes it too wide and it'll be nonsensical. This is actually a little bit more better trend. So this is the trend I'm seeing, and so far we're still intact. Okay, we're absolutely intact. In fact, if you start looking at this particular one candle here, this one candle here, this candle here, this specific candle here, things change. Yes, on the bottom of a trend. So you can see we were trending down, and this thing started to shoot up. This gave us a lovely dragonfly, and a dragonfly is actually a very bullish candle, right? So this was the indication that, guys, we're in a full force bull market, right? And you can see the next candle did smash through. Yes, we got rejected. I'm not worried too much about this. This particular zone that we have here, doesn't concern me at all. So this particular area here does not concern me at all. Sorry, one second, let me put this there. This particular zone here, where we are right now, doesn't concern me much at all. Okay? So just to let you know, none of this actually concerns me because, as I said, it's fine. And on the monthly, when you start looking at the higher time frames, you can see that, again, the trend is intact. We're absolutely fine. A little bit of correction. Also, if you look at historical data, you'll notice that on the months of May, June, we're slightly bearish. Unless we're in a full force bull market, then we could have 1 month bloody and then we start shooting back up again, right? And this could happen. You can see this on where is it? Let's see, for example, September, June. So here's a good one, right? June we were bearish and then we started becoming bullish again, right? So these kind of things happen. I wouldn't really worry too much about it. Again, history doesn't repeat, it just rhymes. And it doesn't necessarily have to be exactly on the same months, right? It can easily change. The months could change depending on the situation. Or remember, I've also mentioned that the global situation right now with the global currency, banking system regulations and whatnot, things are constantly changing, and they're changing faster than we can comprehend, right? So all of that changes everything. But does it change the structure of Bitcoin on a chart? Specifically on a chart, it does not, right? So you can see we have our patterns, and our pattern looks very good. We're forming the first V shape here. So let me just show you this. So we're forming our first V shape here, which means we could come back here and start pushing up. If we did this, then guys, this is a super bullish move. That's all I can tell you. So that's how I'm seeing this on a higher time frame. Now I want to show you one other thing as well. Why am I seeing all of this, and why does it make me feel confident, right? One second, let me try and open this up. Sorry, let's try and open this up. There we are. Right, let me open this up. Right, so this is on a monthly. You can see on the bottom here, you can see this is on a monthly. On the monthly, you can see the trajectory. We are bullish, right? On the weekly, however, we do see this slight situation here where it's telling us that, look, it might want to come back down. And let me show you, one second. I'm sorry, not daily. Never do daily, guys. When you're looking at these kind of stuff, when you're trying to project something, I wouldn't do daily. So what we're looking at is this zone here, right? Where the blue is leading and it wants to come to this yellow line, the 40 RSI, right? If it wants to come to the 40 RSI, I'll take it. That's not a problem. I'm going to wait for it to come to the 40 RSI before I start buying it. That's if I'm only buying. If I'm not buying and I've already missed the drop, which has been happening for the past 3 or 4 weeks, we've had situations where there was massive dumps. A lot of people became super bullish and super bearish, and someone like, why is it dumping or why is it pumping? I was like, actually, it's not doing anything. Right, it's actually doing exactly what it needs to do. The dump is exactly as it needs to be, because the dump started when we went to this particular zone here. When we entered here, the dump already started. We were already peaking, so that meant that we're overbought. We need to come down, and the indication was there. So that means we're coming down. We're going to come to this yellow line at least, and then start moving back up again. That's when the super bullish moves happen. How long is it going to take? We don't know. It could take 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But it's not going to happen overnight. That's what you need to focus on. That's what you need to understand, right? So that's what I'm looking at. That's what I saw. And also, let me just show you on the weekly. So this was the weekly, by the way. On the monthly, what I see. So when we change and we start moving into the monthly territory, it's a whole different story. On the monthly, we're seeing that we've had the stochastic RSI monthly leading constantly leading. So it's basically telling us that, look, guys, whatever you're thinking right now, we've already started to become bullish from this point onwards, and we're on a trajectory moving up. So all of this is giving us a higher time frame, saying that, guys, next month, the month after, a month after, probably, maybe in 4 months, maybe in 6 months, right? It might take 6 months for us to get to there, but whatever happens, we are going to be very, very bullish. And we are bullish right now, as you can see. And the bull market is on a continuous trajectory. So that's how I look at certain things. Obviously, it's a bit silly the way I'm doing it, but that's how I do it. And of course, I'm doing it on a phone, which is more silly. But that's not the point here, guys. The point is this is a chart, these lines and everything here, every line here is relevant. We've talked about this before as well. Relevant because it kind of predicts where all the volatility will be, the major volatility, major pumps and dumps. So you can see once we cross over the $29,000 level and we stay above there, then the next threshold for us is the 37. After that is the 48, and so on and so forth, right? And we've kind of talked about this pattern many years ago, or a couple of years ago at least. We talked about how this pattern works, and it's still there. It's the same chart. I haven't changed it. It's the same chart that I saved. Is still there. So does any of the current situation worry me? Does the current news about the government dumping, this dumping, that dumping, this FUD, this FOMO, does it bother me? No, right? But what does bother me is when you start seeing meme coins pump. Meme coins pump is one of the most dangerous things out there. Okay, it cannot. I mean, sometimes it might not be dangerous. It could be harmless, right? Let's put it this way. Totally depends on the founders. If the founders have only intention to make money, then they're dumping on you, full stop, right? Because they need to dump to make the money. But if the founders don't have any, they don't have any intention to dump on you and they want the project to grow, then it's absolutely fine. That's how I look at certain things. So, that's how I'm seeing this anyway. I'm not going to go too deep into this. This is not the time or the place for it. But I hope this video kind of helps you understand that, the monthly candles are telling us that we're still on a bullish trajectory. We are not bearish at all. Even though we have a red monthly candle, none of that indicates bearishness. It actually says that it's just a correction. It needs to happen. And that's something we should accept. After having so many candles green, now we need to start pumping up. Now we need to start pumping up. So we've come to the zones, we've come to the levels. And when we do, it could take us month, 2 month, 3 month, 4 month, 5 months, 6 months, heck, even probably more for us to start moving back up. But all I can say is once we go to those higher thresholds, so the threshold, the 37, 48, and XYZ, right? When we start going to these thresholds, that's when we could start to see the new higher highs, right? Of course, there's one more threshold that I haven't put a line on because it wasn't necessary at that time, but I can put it on now, which is actually the previous high. So the previous market high is also a threshold that we must look at and we must beat in order to create a new higher high. So that's how I'm looking at this. The market itself is all about patience. I mean, some of us have been in the game for a very long time, and every bull run, we get excited for a very short term. And then we do hodl for a very, very long time. And so far, all I can say is people who have hodled have always been rewarded, even if not financially. Like financially, what I mean, they may have not cashed out, but they've been rewarded by looking at their balances and seeing that every bull run, how it increases. It's never been a time where you've bought something in 2012 or 2013 or 2014 or 2015, and you've held on to it since then. It's been less than what you've bought it for. That's never been the case, especially with BTC. Other crypto, other shitcoin, I'm not getting into those. Most of them are just basically scams. Most of them had bad intentions. They just want to make money and they want to go. So I hope this is kind of informative. I hope this answered your question, Bobby. I will make a better analysis, probably do one on a live or something. But right now, I think this is just simple, basic one. Again, pick your coins, stick to coins, and we'll see where we go from there. I know if you're, well, I mean, I could drop a paradexes update here, but I'm not going to. I think I'm going to make a separate video for that. But there's a lot to talk about, and I'll probably do a live stream and just sit down and do some AMAs and ask questions or answer questions or whatever you guys want to ask, because there's so much. And, once I've finally decided everything, and I'm doing it publicly, so once everything is decided, then we're going to finalize it and put it on a paper. So That's the last part. The first part is obviously getting the project together. So we are going to sit down, we are going to talk. Until then, have a great day. Like, subscribe and share. And also, if there are some guys here who haven't watched my videos before, guys, I'm not a daily YouTuber. I don't daily pump nonsense. I'll give you some facts. In fact, I'll give you just the facts, and then I'll leave you there, because end of the day, I'm not trying to hype anything. I'm not trying to FUD anything. And the data I'm giving you is evidence-based, as you can see on the chart, and that's it. So it's all about these longer perspective macro trends, and how to maximize your gains. It's not about the short-term risk to reward gains that a lot of people play. I don't play that. I don't even recommend leverage trading unless you know what you're doing, because you could easily lose 20% in a day. Sometimes get wiped out in a single day, right, if you don't know what you're doing. So it's not what that's something I do not promote. I do not tell anyone to do, and I do not show. But here I'm going to give you data based on what the market is doing or would be doing in the future, just based on charts, basically. So I hope this helped. Adios, my amigos. I'll see you on another one very soon. Thank you.